I've started the process,
Okay.
and so I will try and slip in an announcement when we're live.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Here we go. Letting the Zoomers in. So Xavier, you can start.
All right, good morning, everybody. Wake up, everybody. So excited to be here. So excited to be here. So excited to be here. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
You're also
Adam.
live on Facebook, Xavier.
Oh, good morning, Facebook. I always got to show love to Facebook. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Peace and blessings,
Blessings,
family.
greetings. In the words of many of us, I've become a grand rising person. So grand rising. Good morning to those coming in still on Facebook, and to those jumping into the Zoom session. Good morning. So excited to talk about the topic that we are on today, building on what we've been discussing. So really looking forward to it. Good morning, good morning. So we have Chantel, good morning, and Stacy, good morning. Zakia, good morning. Marie, good morning. Facebook family, good morning. So we have others coming in now.
Xavier, can you share with everybody what they will need to fully participate with this awesome session today?
Yeah, so what you will need to participate for this session is your presence, your awareness, your brain, and your body. You will not need any utensils or anything to write with today. But I do ask that we are fully present, engaged into this work that we do today. Good morning again to those coming in on Facebook. Zakia, good morning. I see you in the chat. Facebook family, as you're logging in, be thinking about and ready to engage in the chat, because we will be looking to hear from you as well.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
All right, good morning again. I just typed in the chat. That is my jam. I've told a few people when I hear that song, it just makes you want to groove and move. I don't know why, but shout out to the maker creator of that song. I believe there is a connection to Shawnee with the creator of that as well.
Yes, my daughter Jasmine.
Okay, shout out to the daughter Jasmine for that song. So let's jump right into it. I've done this a couple times with you all. You have allowed me into this space. So let's get right into it. So the topic for today. So what? Now what? And it's framed around the idea of what do you do when you when you think you have a handle on life and the handle breaks. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to type a question, a prompt in the chat, and there's going to be 3 blanks that I want you to fill in. While you're filling in those blanks, I'm going to be sharing a personal story with you before we dive into your responses. So in the chat, the prompt is, I have a handle on the following areas of my life. And so you're going to list 3 areas that you feel personally that you have a handle on in your life, whether that's finances, whether that's your relationship with your children, your relationship with self, your relationship with truth, your relationship with your job. In those 3 areas, I want you to name, and I'm going to go ahead and get into a personal story. So a little bit of background about me. So growing up, I went to six schools between kindergarten and 8th grade. And then I was fortunate to get a scholarship to a private school for high school before being a first generation college student, where I moved thousands of miles away. Now, in high school, it was a very strange period. For me, it was adjusting, going from a completely all Black environment, all Black schools, predominantly Black schools, to a complete opposite environment. And there were certain challenges, and there was a lot of things that I had to go through in order to be successful, there was a lot of trials and unexpected tribulations. But I'm grateful for the community for embracing me and the things that happened while I was there. I'll flash forward to my senior year, where I was elected the governing council school president at the time, which was a huge deal because there had never been there hadn't been a Black president, school president, for the previous 103 years. So you can imagine just the impact. So here I am, this kid growing up from the hood at this school and impacting on a large scale. Things are going well. I'm being recruited for the sports that I want to be recruited for. Academically, I'm thriving. Socially, I'm thriving. I adjusted to living in 3 different places. Things were essentially going well. The day that I began writing my speech, my graduation speech as governing council president, one of the things that I wanted to do was highlight my grandmother. My grandmother was a safe haven. She was everything to me, and she still is. My speech acknowledged my grandmother in a way to where a lot of my gestures were directed toward her. So the school, they knew my grandmother was amputee. She had 1 leg in a wheelchair. And so they created a space to make sure that she would be able to be present. What I didn't know is that my grandmother would pass away right before graduation. And my entire life, all through high school, I just wanted my grandmother to live to see me graduate from high school. That's it. One of the most difficult things I dealt with was standing on the stage with all these people who were looking at me, looking to me to give them something in this speech, to give them something about my experiences. And I felt like I had nothing because I felt like I lost everything. What I didn't know was that my grandmother left a note for me that I would only see after graduation in my yearbook, because she knew that she would pass away. And so she had a note sent to the school for me to see afterwards. And what it did for me is it broke me down so much to where I had to acknowledge that I had no longer had the handle on life that I thought I had. I was no longer able and capable mentally to sustain myself, regardless of how good things were, right? And so that was something that really stuck out to me in planning this and thinking about this. Just those experiences and those moments where everything is going well, and then something like that happens. On a smaller note, as a kid, I'm sure many of us have, well, I hope all of us know how to ride a bike. But there were times as a kid where you would be riding a bike and your handlebars may break, and you go to a friend and they have pegs and you ride on the back. So keep that example in mind as we go into some of the responses that I see here.
So,
All right, so first,
go ahead. I think you're going there already with some folks that have answered in the chat. So proceed.
All right, so some of the things that I see in the chat, and I am going to ask a few. I'm going to ask 2 people to share what they wrote. So, Zakia, if you could come on and share what you wrote, and Jacqueline, if you could come on and share what you wrote after Zakia.
Greetings, Grand Rising family. I have a handle on my relationship with my creator. And the rest of it, I'm still figuring it out. I have ideas and thoughts, but I wouldn't say I have a handle on anything else beside that. That's what keeps me going.
So just to be clear, you said you do have a relationship with your creator. That's the thing for you that's sustaining.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is your relationship with your creator, is that a handle that you feel like you always have? Is that something that you feel like you always have a handle on, or is that something that you feel like the handle sort of gets slippery or the grip gets loosened at times?
Never.
Never?
I always have a handle on that. That's the only thing I know I always have a handle on.
And so
everything else, it comes and goes.
I'm really glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that, because one of the other things that I was going to get into, you actually kind of are giving a push to it. So what I want to ask you is, given that this is something that you always have a handle on, I feel like there has to be some truth in whatever you do to keep a handle on that. So I want to ask you, what is it that you feel like you do intentionally to keep a handle on this particular area of your life? Because it may help someone else when we get into the opposite of the areas that you don't have a handle on.
Okay. I just communicate with my creator every day, all day, from waking up to going to sleep and during sleep. I'm always connected. That's the only thing I'm always connected to.
So what I hear is communication, I hear consistency, and I hear intentionality as your immediate response to what happens to you throughout the day. So we know as we go throughout the day, everything is not going well all the time. So the fact that this is the key area for you that you always have a handle on, and the two things that you mentioned that allow you to sustain that are your consistency and your communication. So I want us to, and I'm typing those two words, we're going to hold these two words, and I want to hear next from Jacqueline.
Good morning. Oops, sorry. I was on two devices. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, okay. My internet is unstable. Well, I think what did I put? I put my purpose, my spirituality, and my truth.
Your purpose, your spirituality, and your truth. Can you say more about your truth when you say you have a handle on your truth?
Well, I've always been pretty transparent about who I am, how I've came to be, the things that I've gone through, and being on the Woo community has allowed me to examine that more deeply, because, we all tell ourselves a story about why we do what we do and why we are who we are and so forth. So I had to make sure that I was separating this imaginary truth from what was really going on with me. And that has been a process. And I'm not going to say that I have a handle on it, but I can't say that I've arrived. I can only say that I'm still working towards staying in my truth. And it's like you said, the consistency is something, consistent is something that I am. So that's never been an issue for me. But I know sometimes that I'm not always right, because there's always my truth, your truth, and then there's somewhere in between is the real truth or a meeting of the minds. And so I'm aware of that, but I still know who I am, and I know what I've been through, and I know how it's shaped my life. And it's part of why it's part of the purpose that I'm here. So that's about as much as a handle that I got on it as I can say.
But no, understood. And what I appreciate about what you shared and what Zakia shared is that there are some truths in both of what you said, which is consistency and communication, either within yourself or with the items that you named. And so what I want us to do, and these are two words that I wrote down because I believe that there are some truth to the opposite, which is this question. Wait, sorry. Before I get to those questions, there was a comment that came up that I wanted to. Yes, from Kaisha Coachman. I hope I said that correctly. So if Kai, is it possible for her to come on?
Is she in Facebook or is she in this space? Charmaine.
Oh, so it
Yeah,
looks
she's
like
on
Facebook.
Facebook.
And Facebook, they don't. Okay. So what she said was children was number one. Two was sense of life as a sense is not spiraling out of control. Finances, I'm not where I want to be, but I live within my means and have savings. What stuck out to me was the first one about children, right? I don't have physical children, but I have four-legged children. And so when I read that, what stuck out to me was the notion of having a handle on something like a child, or thinking we have a handle on something like children, understanding that there are things that happen within the span of a day that can just blow everything up, right? And then there's something we do to get the child on track. There's something we do to get our finances back on track. There's something we do to get our spiritual life back on track. So the next prompt that I want to give you all is the opposite, which is what are those things that you do not feel that you have a handle on in life? And this doesn't have to be three things. This can be one thing. And then I want to have a Valdia coaching session with three people. So what is that one area that you feel like you do not have a handle on life? What is the one area that you feel like you do not have a handle on life? And while you are thinking about that, I'll just read a few more of the comments. Okay, I see finance coming in. I see love and relationship intimacy. Relationship with the son. And as you're thinking about these things, I want you to actually imagine whatever this topic is for you, imagine it as a handle. Imagine it as a door handle on a car. And for example, if intimacy is what you wrote, imagine the car intimacy. Imagine the vehicle being intimacy and there being a handle in order to get into the vehicle. What we're saying right now, what Jacqueline is saying is that handle is broken. So if the handle is broken to a car, you have a difficulty accessing it unless you break a window. So you'd have to break something in order to break through in the car to get it to operate. So as we're thinking about these things, I really want us to imagine a real handle, right? And what we would do if we broke a handle. All right, so Jacqueline, if you could come on and say a little bit more.
Well, I'm imagining that I'm pulling on this handle and it's not opening. And I'm pulling and pulling and pulling and it's not opening. And I'm struggling with it. And I have not learned to break the window to open the door. And I'm still there.
When you're pulling, are you pulling just to pull, or are you adjusting your grip, or are you identifying if the handle needs to be replaced? So what is it that you're doing differently, knowing that this is a handle that you feel is broken?
That's the problem. I'm not doing anything differently. I'm locked out and I just keep doing the same thing. It's insanity.
Understood. So let's say your house, do you have a door?
Yes.
You have a front door?
Yes.
I hope so, because if not, you have people running in and out. We got some problems. You might have to put in a phone call to Mr. Beckwith. And anyway, imagine if the handle on your front door was broken.
Right.
I guarantee you, no one in their right mind would just simply do nothing or do the same thing in terms of allowing the handle to stay broken. So
you're right. I've been locked out before. I've gone around the back and I've broke into my own kitchen window. It was open, thank God. I just had to break the screen and I crawled in. And
that's exactly what I was going to get into next is what did you do then? That was a moment of desperation. And when we're desperate sometimes when we're desperate, we figure out a way. And what you said was you went in the back door and you got into your house. For myself, I've been locked out a couple of times. I had to jimmy the door. You have to do a couple things to to get access back to where you're trying to get into. And so what I want to do is figure out how we can get back on track using the so what, now what mentality, where we acknowledge the areas where where our handles are broken. And then we have to figure out what it is that we do in order to fix it. So you go up to your house, you're touching the door handle and you're trying to get in and you realize the handle is not working. You don't just stop and you don't just sit there and say, you know what, I'm just gonna go back to my car and live in my car. Something tells you inside, I have to figure this out. It's a so what, now what mentality. So as we approach these things that we're talking about that we feel like we don't have a handle on, that's the mentality that is the mentality that I want us to start approaching that with, even when we don't have all the answers. And so Shani, you mentioned that, I believe that was Shani. Shani, you mentioned that your relationship with your son was something that you feel like that's not a handle of something that's not a handle that you feel like is solid. So can you share more about that?
Yes. So my son, since he was in elementary school, has exhibited behaviors and challenges with just self-regulation, emotionally, impulse control. And as he grows older, he'll be 17 in October, the behavior has just expanded. And I just feel after all these years, like I'm really worn out from just negotiating that, trying to mitigate or alleviate some of the stress and strain, getting counseling and, you know, having the community, the village gather to support. His volatility, it disturbs me, and it also creates a dynamic where I don't feel comfortable being in his presence sometimes, especially when he gets triggered and it's not predictable. So I feel like I don't have a handle on negotiating that relationship in the way that I would like. And what I do have a handle on is how I react or respond. But I don't have a handle on what's going to shift this dynamic with him or with me and him. I don't have a handle on that.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that personally that's not something that's easy to talk about. And so just want to first honor that. One of the things I want to go back to with something that was said earlier in terms of the things that have allowed, I forget who it was, please forgive me, allowed them to keep a handle on their spiritual life, I believe it was consistency and communication. And so what I want to ask you, Shani, is there anything that you do with your son consistently, no matter what happens? Is there something that happens consistently, either in the way you communicate, or is there a consistent time that you two connect, whether it's weekly or something like that?
No, that used to be, but because of so much stuff that has happened, there's not that consistency of communicating. There was a consistent presence with me, making sure that he was covered as far as his mental health. There was a consistent presence with regard to his schooling and just talking to him about different things of interest and trying to get him involved with things that he could stay focused on. And, you know, I was very much the force to move things forward. And in the last several months, I say for my own well-being, I've stepped back. You know, like he was just here recently and it did not go well. And I'm just like, for my own well-being, I stepped back. So me getting a handle, and I'm not saying this is correct, and I'm open to hear what you have to say, was me stepping away from what I consider now a toxic relationship. It's my child, but I'm like, I have to take care of me.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you have to get a handle on you before you can get a handle
absolutely
on that, or the handle on you in this space, in this relationship.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think from what we know about you, I mean, what you project is you have a handle on so many things. You know, if you didn't, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. Right. But it sounds like that particular area of your life is where you are focusing more on your handle first before you can handle the situation and the relationship with your son.
Yeah. And Xavier, it creates so much guilt in me, because I'm like, what kind of mother, with the level of things that I have handled in the world and how many people I work with, including young people, and make a difference. I'm like, I can't even make a difference with the person that got shaped in my womb and that I pushed out. That's hard. And the decision that I made is really hard. But I'm like, for my own well-being, and because I get so triggered, it's best for me to step away, because I'm not effective in our relationship. Even though I have all these skills in that relationship, I'm not effective.
So now that we've come to be aware that the way you're operating in this relationship, in this space, your focus is on you, and you know that what we've been talking about is this so what now what mentality. And going back to the idea of consistency, knowing the focus is on you now, what are there things that you are doing consistently to have a handle on yourself within this space? For example, what that could be and what that looked like. Morning journaling, or weekly prompts or daily prompts to say, you know what, this is a question I need to ask myself every day, and I'm going to write about this one thing, this one particular handle, until I get this right. And so when I read on Tuesday, when I read my Monday's journal entry, I'm looking and engaging for, is my perspective on this handle changing? Is there something that's starting to shift inside that's allowing me to get a better grip on this? And I love the fact that this conversation started with talking about the power of consistency and communication, because this incorporates both. You're consistently doing something that is that is moving your goal in a positive direction. You want to have a relationship with your son. That is a positive thing. I think any parent wants a relationship with their child. And me being a man raised by a single mom, and pretty much most of the women in my family were single moms, I know how important it is for a mother to have a relationship with her son. That's something that I've struggled with, that I am struggling with. And so this hits very, very personally for me. And I really want to challenge and push you, as I'm pushing myself in saying this, to figure out what we can do. And I say we, because this is myself too, consistently, daily, to operate and move towards getting a better handle on this. If that's finding YouTube videos that are motivational, inspirational, specifically about this topic, and I'm taking notes, then that's what it is. If that's me making a phone call consistently, the same day, same time, weekly, even if I don't want to, then that's what it is. Because no man is promised tomorrow. And I never want to be looking over a gravesite wondering what if, or wondering what could have been, or wondering what I didn't say. That's not a handle I want to deal with.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, I have lots of tools that I utilize, and one of them is the Woo community, and being able to say out loud what this is. One of the things that I always want to do is to dismantle the view that I got this, because that is not the case. I'm constantly growing, and never want to get grown, because that means I stop living. But one of the things that I will work towards consistently doing is not taking myself out of this moment into the future. Because when I do that about my son, I see him incarcerated. I see him dead. I see him in ways that are just very low vibrational. And I know for sure what I speak into and think into, the environment, the atmosphere will come to fruition. And so I'm working on talking out loud like this to people who get it and who are not judgmental. And even if they judge, getting it off of me, speaking to my family members as my partners in this process, because he's now staying with my uncle, and speaking my truth about it, and releasing perfectionism. But I have a sacred space where I can sit and pray. My incense, my sage, my crystals. I have a lot of things to utilize for this piece, so that I don't get lost in the guilt, the shame, or the anger, because it makes me very angry that he can be so disrespectful sometimes. And I go there with him. I'm like, who are you effing talking to?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say those things, and thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, I know we're going to go a little bit over time, and this you bringing this this particular topic, and it is going to have to extend it. I apologize, but there is no judgment here about this, and I hope what I'm about to say makes it easier, because I don't talk about this. There's very few people that I would talk to about this, but almost what you're saying, your relationship with your son was almost the opposite with me. I grew up with resentment from how I was talked to, from how I was physically treated. I don't want to say treated, but physically disciplined at times later on for, maybe things that would not have been as serious. I know some of us have the experience of having to go get a switch. You go get the switch that you getting your ass beat with, and it's this psychological. It really does something, when every day you feel like you're on the edge of your seat because you don't know what version of mom you're going to get, because she's under her own stress. She's raising four kids and working three jobs and dealing with things as best she could. So our interactions, they weren't always pretty. It was yelling. It was loud. That's why relationships, I don't take it there. I've ended a relationship once I realized that, once I used the word shut up or shut the fuck up, to be honest. That's when I knew it's a wrap for me in that space, because I went somewhere that I didn't have to go. But I wanted to say that to you, Shauna, because I have a lot of guilt and embarrassment about just those experiences, and I feel bad talking about it, but it's my truth. It's what actually happened to me. It's my experiences, and no one can change it or take that away from me. But so what? Now what? Now what do I do about it? Now what can we do about it? One of those things could be, and I typed this down, is how can we change these into experiences that can help other people? An example, in this imaginary world, let's say Shawnee and I, or a group of us, started a nonprofit called Mother to Son, a program that was designated just for just for families that families of mothers and sons, and just something like that. My point is, and we can go into details, my point is, that is an example of something that we can actionably do to not just empower us as the people in this space, you, Shawnee, as the mother in this space, but maybe that's something that our children and those on the other end can be a part of and serve as speakers or serve as counselors or something else to say, you know what, I went through this. I'm here with my mom. We both got through this. She empowered me. I empowered her, and now we're doing it together. It takes those sort of innovative things, just like someone who couldn't get in their front door. They didn't kick the door down. They went through the back. So I'll close that thought out, and I want to hear from Teresa, and then there was one more afterwards in the chat. Thank you so much for that, Shani.
Oh, my pleasure.
This subject is such a challenging subject. So it's like my sister, myself, and I don't know. I just feel like dealing with relationships I don't have a handle, because you think that you understand people, and then so many different versions of people show up sometime. And so it's very challenging, because I think that I'm giving a certain part of me, to people, into relationship, whatever, even friends. And then it's like some other person just shows up, and I'd be like, where the F that came from? Like, who the hell are you? And so that's very challenging to deal with, because it's like, and it just makes me want to, like, I had an incident yesterday. I was so angry with the person that I was crying. And I just feel like I just want to back up and just don't be bothered with, with people sometimes, because of, the BS that you have to deal with people. And so I thank God for places like Woo, but I was not expecting them to talk about this mother-son stuff, because that just hit me a lot. But thank you, Shawnee, for being so bold to express, that part, because my son is 46, and there's times when, it's like we like in a war, and and it was like one time I wasn't speaking to him last year, and I never, it's like I didn't care what I said to him, and I knew that was a dangerous place to be, but it was like the spirit didn't have him to leave my home until I was able to get, to a place where we could speak, and that was really rough to stay in a house where I just want him to get out, and I literally said to him, what you could do, you could leave the door. And I never thought I would say that to my own child, but that's the place where I was at in my space. But it was because I hadn't taken time to love on myself. So And I didn't realize I had a lot of stuff from childhood from him, from having him at 16. And so it was a lot of pain that I got healed from being in Wu. That was one of the things that I wanted to share in Wu, was that it helped me heal my 16-year-old from having a 16-year-old baby. And, and now realizing that I probably could have been in what you call it postpartum depression and being depressed about having a baby. So I'm ready to join that team, y'all. And I'm complete.
Amen.
But
thank you for that.
This place to be open and free to say, to be vulnerable and say how you feel. And so I'm looking for, a challenge and a change to come today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Shawnee, I do see 637. There's a couple.
It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we control this space. So we ask the community, tell the community how much time you need, because for me, it seems like the conversation is just opening up, but I also know that you have work and other things, so it's up to you how you want to proceed.
No, this is more important to me than many things right now. To be honest, just the topic and where the conversation is. So I just wanted to make sure. Teresa, thank you for bringing that in. And what I'm going to say now, I think applies to some of the comments that I'm seeing in chat. Whether it's Jacqueline referring to her relationship with her daughter and having to take time away, and understanding that it sounds like there's I have to love you from afar for right now while I work on me. And so what I want to say is this: the guilt and things that I felt personally from moving away from home when I was 14 to then going into a foster care sort of academic program where I didn't live at home, to go thousands of miles of way to college. There was a lot of things that I missed, and there's a lot of growth that I experienced in different ways. And so when coming back to reconnect with family or people that I knew before, I always had this guilt of certain things that I did because relationships shifted in ways that I never expected, with family, with brothers, with sisters, with aunts, and it's so difficult. But what I had to understand, and what I'm sharing with you, is that at some point in everybody's life, even with a child, I don't have children, but I can say this: you can teach a child everything that you need them to know, but at a certain point, at a certain age, the burden of living and the burden of choice, the burden of doing, falls on them. And what that does is it allows us to remove the pressure to feel like we have to be the ones every day calling, checking on you, every day calling, hey, I'm here, call me, I'm your mom, call me, I'm your son. Because we have to own and embrace where we are and who we are. And Teresa, what you were just saying spoke exactly to that. And Shawnee was saying that as well, in terms of focusing on you when it gets to a certain point, because you realize that the problem is not us. The problem is not the relationship. The problem is me. And if I'm the bigger person, if I'm the one with the level of awareness and all this, then it's on me then to navigate this. And I can't navigate it if my eyes aren't open. I'm not going to drive a car blindfolded. So I want to empower those who are feeling like this, that time away, that separation, if it's necessary, is necessary. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. And boundaries and those things and consistency are the key, I think, to getting a handle back on these things. So I'm going to read two comments, and then I want to hear, I believe, Amal, if I said your name correctly. I wanted to hear from her. So this is a comment that I wanted to read, and it speaks to again what we were just talking about. It's from Terry. She said, I went through a similar situation with my son. When he was 17, we had a relationship from hell. I was consistent with my expectations of him and myself in our relationship, no matter what we were going through. When he was willing, I was consistently there to listen and talk to him. It was a very scary time. It has gotten better over time, but it was one hell of a journey to this point, and we are still traveling. And what stuck out to me when I read this was the word win. As I was scrolling through the comments, I got the gist, and I saw win, and it just stuck out because it was a responsive mechanism as opposed to figuring out how I want to deal with this. So Shawnee was what Shawnee got at and dealing in her relationship was she feels like she's responding in a way that is matching that energy that places that she doesn't want to go. I have had conversations with family members that have taken me places that I don't want to go. Right. And so what I don't want to happen is I will respond like this when this we will only have a great relationship when I can only talk to you when those conditions people feel. Those conditions people feel. And so you want people that close to you to feel unconditional love, unadulterated, just pure love, no matter what is happening. And what love looks like sometimes is keeping a mouth closed and stepping away and saying, this is not something that I can, that I'm willing to deal with because it's going to hurt both of us in the end. And so I am actually proud and excited to see so many of us already having to acknowledge that sometimes we just need space, and that's okay. So Amal, if you wanted to hop on with your comment.
Yes, I do. One thing I just want to say is I've been through that with my grandson. Oh my God, I don't know I know where he is. I just don't know where his mind space is and what he's doing. But one thing that was told to me is that just like God put you on your path and protected you, all the crazy things that you did in your life, it has brought you here. And so we've got to continue to trust in God. You know what? I've given him everything I had. You know, when you deal with children, I've given you everything I had based on what I knew at the time. And the rest you have to learn out there. If this is what you want to do, I love you. And I know that God's got your back. And then just let him go. And that is the hardest thing to do. But rather than to run yourself crazy and go through stuff, you just got to trust God has got him. That's all I can say.
Thank you for that. Yeah. No, thank you for that. And that leads perfectly into a quote that I wanted to share from a book that I've been reading and I've read through a couple times. It's called Detours by Tony Evans, and it ties perfectly to what was just said. It says, the most critical test you will ever face is a test for suffering when you didn't do anything wrong, when you did exactly what God told you to do, and now you're paying a price. And it's not fair because all you were trying to do was what he said. Said differently, also in the book, while God didn't keep Daniel from the lion's den, he did join them in the lion's den. God didn't keep Shadrach, Meshach, or Abednego from the fiery furnace. It says that there was a fourth person who joined them in the fiery furnace. So God, because he's taking you through a detour, may not cut off the detour, but he might jump in the car with you. So one of the things that I hear and that I'm processing through this, most of what we've talked about and how we're dealing with our broken handles has been with ourselves and the other party, whether that's ourselves and our son, ourselves in our relationship with one thing. But there is a piece that we haven't talked about that is highlighted here. And that sometimes it takes another party coming in. Sometimes it takes something else being thrown into the mix just to arrive at a solution that will help give us a better handle on things. Similar to God going into the lion's den, going into the den with Daniel, even while in the fire, there was a certain support there, but also a certain allowance of what was happening because he knew that there was growth on the other end. And so the two things to come out of that is, while it doesn't feel good, understanding that there is light at the end of the tunnel just adds a little bit of comfort as long as we are focusing on ourselves enough to create and sustain those boundaries consistently to get a better handle on these areas that we've talked about. So now I will actually open the floor. So not open the floor. There was I lost it, so I said open the floor. But there were two people I think that had their hands raised, and I lost them. So if you were one of those two that had your hands raised and you would like to come off mute and share, please do. Otherwise, there's a comment that I'll read, and then we can close out.
I think you can proceed with the comment. I didn't see the second person. I saw Mama Mao, but you can read the comments because there are a lot coming in for sure.
Okay. All right. So, oh, this was Shani. Shani said, well, Shani, can you say that? Because it was like a yes, Mama Mao. He said, I'm working on surrender. There's an absolute design for his life, and the Creator knows best. I am also aware that everything is happening, that is happening is a lesson for me. Key operative word there is aware. I am also aware. I am also aware, right? You have to be aware of these things in order to see them as a lesson, to see them as a blessing, and to see them for what they are, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And what I appreciate the most, it was the second person that spoke. I thought it was interesting to hear someone say, I have a handle on truth. I have a handle on truth. You cannot, it's impossible to be aware without truth, to be self-aware without truth. And so thank you, Shani, for that. And for those who spoke before, because what you don't know is everything that came out of those initial conversations has navigated what we've been doing. Another comment, Dr. Fatima, would you like to come off and talk a little bit more about your comment? And as you come on, I'll just read it quickly so everyone can hear it. She says, I and my son have had a 3-year challenge with my son's mental health, and it has impacted my own mental stability at times. I've had to go places with him that I never thought I would go. Brother Beckwith is right. I feel weird to say. Brother Beckwith is right. I have had to find what I could do with him consistently. We are now a bit more stable and accepting him as we continue to grow together. So Dr. Fatima, if you would mind coming off and sharing a little bit more about your comment.
Thank you for this conversation. Shani, thank you for your vulnerability and for you just sharing. You know, this is all a human dilemma. Listen, you know, so my son, 3.5 years ago, I don't know exactly what occurred, but there has been a series of things over years that perhaps I didn't pay attention to, or the people around us didn't pay attention to. And he had a break. He had a mental break, and it was really a ride. Has been a ride, and I've done things like get him on medication. I've done things like get him into, you know, he even went to the hospital once because we didn't know what to do with the outburst and the outbreak. And his personality was a very mild, calm personality. But when this happened, we saw a side of him that we didn't even know. Like, it was unbelievable. But what occurred is that through all of those things, I've just continued to stay with him no matter what I chose or what I demanded of him or what he, you know, was always giving pushback, you know, brilliant. But it was just the kind of pushback that didn't allow for us to be in a real communication. And so I realized that, you know, just being consistent with whatever it was I was doing, whenever I experienced something, just being present that that's what I'm experiencing too. I'm experiencing that, he's experiencing that, and not trying to judge him, but it certainly hasn't been easy. And so we are now at a place where he's not taking medication. He's steady he got a job. We are still in communication, but what's consistent is that I always kept letting him know I loved him. No matter what happened, I always kept letting him know that I loved him. I didn't push him beyond boundaries with my own stuff. I tried to check my own stuff. When I'm in relationship, when we're in a conversation, I started listening more. I remember one time walking down the street with him, just going for a walk with him. That's something simple that we do. And he started to share with me And I shut up. I just shut up. And as we were walking, he said, that's all I needed you to do. Which meant that all he needed me to do was just listen, not to advise him, not to get upset because he said something that maybe triggered me, about my mothering, about my, what I didn't do, what I did do, and just being able to sit with that. So I just want to say for everybody who's struggling, not even struggling, but being challenged by the relationship with Black mothers and sons is it's a place that we need to really unpack. And I appreciate what you suggested, like something around Black mothers and sons, or mothers and sons, and how can we heal what is happening? And if what's happening is not just our internal doing, it's something that's striking us from the outside. So I don't know, I'm maybe rambling right this moment.
No, you're not.
This conversation is a conversation that should be, kind of blown up, because and one last thing, I work in community with a lot of young Black mothers who have made choices to have their sons incarcerated rather than to have them on the street, because they felt safer for them. They would, not to say that they went and told them to come pick them up, but just the idea that with the dilemmas that we have about choosing between our sons' lives and their death, our sons' lives and incarceration, our sons' lives and their life as human beings who want and desire families and desire whatever it is that they desire, and we can't help them. Like, I don't think that I believe that we have the power to shift what's happening. And thank you, brother, for sharing about your relationship with your mother. I'm moved so much by this conversation that I don't know what else to say.
Well, you have said more than I feel like I was ready for personally, to be honest. And as you were talking, I was synthesizing things you were saying to say back to people, but I think what you said can stand for itself in terms of the help that you provided to the community. And thank you for your vulnerability in sharing what you shared. Know that personally, from so many reasons, it has touched me, but this is one that I need to allow to just sit for a moment. So I'm going to be quiet just for 5 seconds, and then I want Stacey to come on before we speak with Catherine. Also, we will close out in less than 10 minutes. So just wanted to give you all that heads up as well. Thank you for staying around this long. So Stacey, you could go ahead.
Grand Rising family, how are you? Always good to see you, Xavier.
Likewise.
Yes, I'm just sending deep breaths and holding the space for the conversation.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you for that. I was sitting there holding my breath, like,
oh no,
Yeah,
definitely let that go so that we can also break up that energy. It's all, when it comes in, it's energetic first before it sets to the body. So you want to release and keep breathing, and breathe. Sister Shawnee and every mom who has spoken this morning. Something that came up for me in the conversation is I have a son. My son's 16 and a half. So my son Joshua is on the spectrum of autism, and he's one of my biggest teachers. Sometimes I'm blown away by the responses that I get from him. So this is something that I'm taking on for myself as a 100-day challenge that I made for myself as one of my cards that I pulled. And the main thing that stuck out to me was, don't take anything personal. So I said, this is great. I'm going to do this for 100 days regarding everything. Don't take anything personal, and to shift my energy to what I actually want to create and what I want to show up. So in dealing with my son, I was looking at him the other day because I said, wow, I'm doing so much talking. My son's normally at boarding school. He's home for the summer. And I'm like, okay, I have to get a handle on the way that I'm speaking to him. So there's so many different ways. If I'm speaking to him in a certain tone or a certain way, he can think that that's love and find that in a relationship or outside. Oh, my mom spoke to me this way, so that lady must be love me, or she talked to me, or she shouts sometimes, or whatever the case may be. It's all different things that pop up. So when working with him, I actually said to myself yesterday, I'm going to make a 100-day challenge for Josh. So what does that look like? That looks like me when I want to raise my voice, that I go low. And let me tell you, it's such, it's a challenge for sure. Like if I want to raise my voice, but then I come back to me, like you said earlier, we always have to come back to ourselves, what I can be responsible for. If I don't blow up, then he's not going to blow up. So I actually stop to interrupt it, to say, who's reacting right now? That's ego. That's not me coming from source. And what's something that's big, that's huge. I have this pop up on my phone every morning, and it says, don't make it or them wrong. Whenever we making someone wrong, it could be a child, a parent. If there's a sprinkle of that in the background, there is no space for this person to show up as anything other than the make wrong, what we're making them wrong for. If I'm making him wrong for back talking, not speaking to me the way that I spoke to my parents or my aunties or whoever, you already counted them out. So with me, I'm always, the interruption is, don't make him wrong. 2, he doesn't have the same capacity as you. His brain is different. He has autism, so he has different organizational planning. His brain is wired totally different. So breathe. So there's times, and he'll come to me after, he'll say, Mom, you were shouting a little bit earlier. Did you calm down? Did you calm down? Or he'll say, last night he said to me, take my hand. And then even saying that, if I would have said something back to my mother back in the days, that would be like, oh, you're talking back, you get
right.
The freedom and the space to be, for him to be self-expressed, so that he doesn't have to feel muffled as a person, period, before a Black child, a Black man, that he doesn't have to feel like he cannot express himself. And that's where I think a lot of us women of color or moms of color is like, no, you're not going to talk to them. It comes in because it's in us, because it's from, but when I remove that, I say to myself, you are not your mother. I am not other people's mothers. I'm Joshua's mother. What am I going to do to change the narrative so he can live a fulfilled life and know that I can express? Because if he can express himself to me, can he speak to staff members or campus life or about his feelings? So it's just been a great time. And I'm glad that he comes back to me to actually say, Mom, he took my hand last night, said, give me your hand. And I said, what, Joshua? You're supposed to be asleep. Give me your hand. I gave him my hand and he said, how are you doing? Could you take a deep breath? I just looked at him. I took a deep breath and then he just pat my head. He said, all right, now we had a great day today. And tomorrow we're going to have a great day too. He was like, I know that sometimes I get you frustrated. And he was like, and I just thank you, Mom, for just being, who's the best mommy? That's what he says. Then he'll hug me. But I know that that comes from, he compliments me when I do good. So it's like, great, keep going in that direction, even though I'm pulled energetically other places, but I have to interrupt that, continue to interrupt. I would say to everybody as a takeaway, don't make anything or anyone wrong. And then like really going into interrupt, like, oh, what if I don't take this personal? What if I don't take it like he's trying to play me? Because that's what gets us upset in the back, like, oh, this person is trying to play me. They're trying to something. Right. Yeah. So if we get clear the space and come from that, and of course, in breathing and taking a deep breath, it really helps out a lot with that machete of let's cut that.
I definitely, I appreciate that. Quick question for you. How old is your son?
He's 16 and a half. 16 and a half?
16 and a half?
He'll be 17 November, actually.
Okay, what it made me think about is, you know, like if someone had a child and the baby is 1.5 months, you say, oh, how old is your baby? Oh, he's 47 months, and you know, like, can you just say 2.2? So when you said 16, I was when you were talking, I was thinking he was younger, you know, because you rarely hear those sort of interactions and engagements, you know, and it was powerful to hear the authenticity of how your son was approaching you and kind of giving you the same sort of love response and intentional questioning that you would give him. And so I appreciate you bringing that into this space. And I definitely echo what someone else caught that you said, which was don't make it or them wrong. And I'll just leave it at that because that's something that I'm definitely taking away from that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And the last word we will hear from is Catherine. He's interesting.
Sweetness, are you there? I'm not sure what's happening with.
It's okay. So what I'll do is I can give the last word to a comment. Terry, let's see. Actually, Shawnee, one of the reasons why I was asking Stacy about the age, you said a young person's brain is different as well. Were you referring to the age of her son, or were you referring to something different?
Something different. So in my work, I will often make reference to the fact that our brains physiologically, biochemically, are not fully developed until age 25 unless there's a traumatic brain injury or some neurological difference. You know, and to think that I was somebody's mother by 20, and you know, by 2021 I had 2 children and my brain wasn't even fully developed. Like, that's by 25, and that's only if all is working and lack of trauma, and all this other stuff. So I was just thinking about what Stacy was sharing about Joshua and a very specific difference, but overall, my son's brain is not fully developed, and he also is wired differently. That's been said, you know, over the time that we've been doing evaluations. He had a homeopathic evaluation, and they were just saying, like, his brain is designed, what is that? I'm going to say this, but this is not proper terminology, but it's like caveman, like when we were running from the dinosaurs or whatever we were doing, we were like on high alert. So he's always on high alert when there's nothing happening. And I can only imagine what it's like being him. So he experiences distress even when it's not there. So that creates act out behavior. So I was just saying in general, young people are not fully developed. And so Stacey said it, their capacity to negotiate conflict, crisis, even joy is just compromised because they're not complete yet physiologically. So that's what I meant.
I got you. Makes sense. Thank you for that. And we'll close out with a comment from Terry, and her comment actually encompasses much of what's been said about being aware, owning, and forgiving yourself. And also, I saw who was this? Jacqueline kind of agreeing with Terry, saying a lot of us are winging it. You know, a lot of us are trying to figure this out and do that. So I'll read this last comment from Terry, and then we'll close this out. So she says, I look back at my son's school pictures and can see when his smile changed in the pictures. It coincides with us going through changes. At first, I got angry with myself. I helped others for a living, but I missed this with my own kid. I had to forgive myself so I could be there for myself and him. Truly, my eyes have opened. And so I want to empower you all with the final words shared by Terry, which is to forgive yourself for the handles that you might have let go of that you should have kept hold to. Forgive yourself for the broken handles that you have not addressed, and forgive yourself for forgive yourself for any guilt that you felt that you feel for not having a handle on a certain thing. Because as someone just mentioned, we are winging it. But when you're winging it, you're still trying. If you're just stationary, you're not winging anything because you're not flying. So the fact that we are trying and doing these things is allowing us to get a little bit closer to getting this figured out. In moments like this, conversations like this are what get us there. The last thing I'll share personally is just how impactful these sessions have been for me as a presenter. I've challenged and pushed myself to use this as a form of therapy and a healing for myself. I always have listed 3 certain things that I've never wanted to talk about that I would push myself to talk about in sessions. Today, I got through 1 of 3. But I appreciate you all for allowing and helping the conversation move in an organic way, because what you don't know is that the things that are happening behind the screen and inside as we're talking about these things, they weigh heavily. And so sometimes you may see it come out in how something's said. You may see it come out in anxiety or trying to get certain words out. but just know that this is something that has been so helpful for me in this space. I can have a meeting, a business meeting or something like that, and be so fluid and everything can work so well. But it's something when you're talking about self, talking about these things that brings something else out of you. So thank you all for embracing me in this space and for the creation of this space. So I will close out there and thank you again.
So just inviting one, as we said earlier, to take a breath. Catherine, we're moving to close. We called your name earlier, Sweetness, but you were not in the space, so we had to press forward. So we know we're going to have this an extension of this conversation. So let's, do that. And then also, Catherine, you can always put in the post or in the chat what your comment is, so that we can experience your voice, but just experience it differently, since we can't have the conversation full out right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you, beloved, for understanding. So I'm going to post the closing slides. Xavier, just want to thank you and acknowledge you and to encourage everyone, as Stacy said earlier, to take a breath. This was a big conversation and we're big people negotiating it, and big people need breath and air to air things out in the space to be able to express themselves. So just so grateful for this boldness that we experience in the Wake Up Everybody community every day. So I want to go back. Let me see. Well, to be in contact, and Charmaine will drop this in the Facebook thread as well with Xavier. This is his contact information. He's an awesome coach. And, one of the things that I share about leadership is if you're unwilling to expand your emotional intelligence, your ability to be empathetic, your intuition, like your ability to negotiate conflict internally and externally, then it's going to be hard to be a really powerful, impactful leader. So Xavier, thank you for your willingness to do all of that and be all of that. So y'all be in touch, you leaders, and we're all leaders, be in touch so we can grow and transform under this man's leadership. So let me see if I have to go backwards or forwards to get to the special offer. And Charmaine, if you can help me with that, I didn't get a chance to look. We have number 13 as the person who's going to receive the invitation for a complimentary coaching session to be redeemed today, if you so wish. So number 13, let's see who this is. So listen out to see if you're number 13 family member. And then if you are, whether you are a yes to this, because it's all about consent, we do not want the special offers to go unutilized. So Charmaine, can you assist, or is that too challenging?
I'm doing it.
All right, wonderful, thank you. And Xavier, while she does that, can you say a little bit about what folks will experience as a recipient of coaching from you?
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you. So as a recipient of the coaching session, what you will get is a 45-minute session where it is all about you. It is all about the things that are personally and individually impacting your life, and the handles that you either have broken, the handles you either need to regrip, the handles that you need to let go of, and a lot of the things that we've talked about today. So it is a 45-minute session that is focused purely on you. You will leave with an actionable plan that you will be held accountable for in terms of follow through and consistent communications. But this with this Woo community, that is something that I'm so excited to do and to offer. So thank you, Shani, for that, because I was thinking about that.
No problem. Charmaine, we have someone?
I have our winner, and our winner is Sister Nefertiti and Carl Lashley.
Okay. So Nefertiti, are you a yes to a complimentary coaching session with Xavier Beckwith?
Yes, I am a yes. I have a question. I love this conversation. This is really spirit, because I can't believe I was chosen. Thank you. But I have a question. So I have a brother whose brain is wired differently, and my mother's going through a lot, but she's in California and she couldn't wake up for this session. Mm-hmm. Can I transfer this win to her, because she's really in need of this?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
I'm sending you a message now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful. All righty. So moving forward, once again, this is the contact information. Screenshot it. Do whatever you need to do. Video it. Whatever you have to do that works for you, so that you can be in touch and get the support beyond this session from Brother Xavier. So we're going to move forward, family. And so tomorrow, Thursday, July 15th, from 7 to 8:30, we are going to have the pleasure of being with Sister Shlomit Oren Ross. And she is going to be unpacking the conversation using the arts as a healing modality. And Shlomit is a powerhouse. She has been a professional performer in the circus as a clown. You know, clowns on some next level. It's not like when we were a kid with the nose you press and the horn and all this other stuff. Like, they do all kinds of things. It's just a really powerful exchange. She is a arts therapist and healer. She's a belly dancer. She's a singer. Her and her husband have a business where they provide arts to elders and young children. So they do it from the beginning to the seasoned folks on the planet. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. If you've been around Shlomit, she's also a playbacker. She's part of my professional playback community. She is an awesome ray of sunshine. So don't miss it. Bring your tools, bring your open heart, and also bring your childlike self to engage in the session with Shlomit. And we just want to acknowledge the Wu Nation as a tribe of folks who are all about inviting new members or potential members into this space so that we can all continue to learn, elevate, and ascend together. So we invite you to return if you're a first timer on Facebook. And for those who, I don't think there were any first timers in this space, but I could be wrong. If you are a first timer, put that in the chat. Or maybe they transitioned off because they had to go to work. So if you know somebody who was in here for the first time because you invited them, please, please, please ask them to come back. We always say, don't hit it and quit it. Return. It's not a one and done. This is about our constant evolution and constant commitment to growing up, meaning ascending upward and outward so that we can experience quality of life. So thank you to all. And I want to encourage the community to invite. Please speak up the Wake Up Everybody community. Just saying about new members, like, we want to bring more people into the fold and have more breakthrough conversations because new insights and new voices have been added. We're such a powerful family and there's always room for more. So our Zoom sessions are every morning, well, 5 days out of the week, Sunday through Thursday. And on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday at 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Today is a short day, but we extended it because of the nature of the conversation and just how much power that was being generated by Xavier in the co-creation of the community. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, we have a short session from 7 to 7:30, but it's short, but it's not absent of power and intensity and comprehensiveness and golden nuggets for you to learn and grow from. So please join us in the Zoom space or in our live stream on Facebook. And some people do both, which is amazing to me. And we have Woo Swag. We've been recognizing the need for us to have representation for ourselves out in them streets. And so we have seen people, there have been Woo sightings where folks are like, oh my gosh, he has on a Woo, or he has on a Woo, or they have on a Woo t-shirt. Are you part of the community? And they're like, yes, that's me, that's me, that's me. So please do purchase. And we have some stuff coming up for the summer months, water bottles and other things that can be utilized to keep us quenched and keep us cool. So keeping us cool in two ways, by just having a swag that makes us awesome, and then also keeping us cool literally by having a vessel that will help us hydrate and keep ourselves healthy, like we talked about yesterday with Sister Hattie. And also Kyra talks about that a lot, drinking water, and Kevin, like, yeah, this is awesome. So thank you. Stay in touch, like literally and figuratively. Keep those meetups outside going, keep us coming into this space every day. So register for next week's session when you get the email, and also share it with others, share it with others. Next week, we are kicking off our theme for the week. We have a monthly theme, and this month's theme is intimacy. And I will be kicking off the week of intimacy on Sunday. So please register for next week once you receive that email blast with the registration information. Join us on Facebook at bit.ly/Woo community. If you are a member of this community and you're not on Facebook, then you're not maximizing the use of this community, because a lot happens on Facebook through the video recordings, and also post your experience. We want your testimonies. Instagram, once again, we have a commitment to transforming our relationship with that, and YouTube. And then also email us if you have information, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. The other day when we had a meeting with the team, Xavier was talking about the need for us to solicit more ideas about topics from the community. So we ask that you send those ideas and also recommend facilitators for the session, because we all know dope ass people, because we're dope ass people. All right, so let's move forward and stop the share so that we can acknowledge our brother Xavier in a big way. I want to put this in gallery view and ask this community to do what we know to do, which is to say we love. Like over the last few days, we've been weak on our acknowledgements. So let's amp up the communication about what we got. Today was phenomenal. So come on, family, let's do it.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank you, thank
very
you,
much.
thank
you.
you.
Thank you for being
Thank
vulnerable.
you for open the
Sharing your
floor.
story.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for an amazing coaching
Thank
session.
you so
It was
amazing.
wonderful for Shawnee to open the
So
floodgates.
much
Thank
for
you.
allowing
There's a
God
healing
to
that
do
we
what
all
you
know
do.
about.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
thank
Let's
you,
move forward,
King.
everybody.
Thank you all for
Thank you,
sharing.
King.
Hey, y'all have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you for allowing God to move through you. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you for
you.
being a
This is so
vessel.
powerful.
Loved on us.
Amazing.
Thank you for
Thank
letting us
you.
love on you.
Thank you, thank you.
So much.
Love the sun.
Guys.
Team, y'all rock.
Oh, yes.
How was that, Shawnee?
Great.
I love it.
Your own
Me
interruption.
too.